All right, guys, so I told you I was gonna make a video. And by the way, I finished class 15 minutes early, and none of you said, Miss Richardson, we still have 15 minutes. But that's okay. I forgive you. I probably wouldn't have told my teacher that either. It's Monday. My brain stopped working, you guys. I apologize. All right, so for this slide here that you have access to, hopefully you're looking at my slide deck. If you turn these percents into a decimal, that means you are simply moving your decimal 2 places to the left. So 25% would become 0.25. All right, the 18%, we're moving our decimal 2 places to the right, and we have 0.18. And you don't have to have that 0 in the front. I just have a habit of adding it if there's nothing in the ones place. 7%, move it twice to the left, which means you have to add a 0 in front of the 7. And then 150%, you can either write 1.5 or you can write 1.50. They have the same value. Okie dokie. Moving on, you guys. So I want you guys to please pause the video, and since we're supposed to have 15 minutes of class together still anyway, I want you guys to practice writing these percents as fractions. Make sure you put them in simplest form. All righty, I hope you guys did that on your own. So percents are always compared to 100. So we're going to start out with 15 over 100. We can divide both of those by 5. And that simplifies down to 3/20. Oops. 3/20. All right, what about 75%? 75 over 100. It's always 100 with percents. We can divide both of those numbers by 25. I think of quarters and money. How many quarters make up 75 cents? 3. And how many quarters are in a dollar? 4. So 75% is equal to 3/4. All right, 2%. 2%. Percent's always over 100. I'm going to divide both of those by 2, and I get 1 over 50. Whoops, 1 over 50. All right, and then finally 122% over 100. That's actually an improper fraction. So I would say, how many times will 100 go into 122? One whole time with 22 left over. Y'all remember that? Basically, we're dividing the top by the bottom. 100 goes into 122 one time. And when I subtract, I get a remainder of 22, which becomes my new numerator. Now I'm going to ignore the 1 for a second. I'm going to divide 22 and 100 both by 2. 22 divided by 2 is 11. 100 divided by 2 is 50. And then I'm going to bring that whole number 1 back over. So 122% is equal to 1 and 11/50. All right, moving on. So now we're going to talk about turning fractions into decimals. So the way you turn a fraction into a decimal is you divide the denominator into the numerator, or in other words, divide the top number by the bottom. So think of it as top dog in the house. All right, top dog in the house. So put that top number in the doghouse, divide it by the bottom number. So since 5 won't go into 2, you add a decimal and a couple of zeros, bring that decimal straight up. 5 won't go into 2, it'll go into 20 4 times, and 5 times 4 is 20. So a remainder of 0. So you can either put a 0 there or you don't have to because it's to the right of the decimal. So 2/5 is equal to 0.4 or 0.40, same thing. They have the same value. All right, what about 9/25? Whoops, let me go back. And I'm going to divide, get my pen working here, 9 by 25, top dog in the house. Top number always goes in the division box. 25 will go into 90 3 times. 3 times 25 is 75. So when I subtract, I get 15. Bring that decimal straight down. what am I saying? Bring the 0 straight down. How many quarters are in $1.50, guys? How many quarters are in $1.50? That would be 6, right? And it goes an even amount of times. So 9/25 is equal to 0.36. All right, 3/4. Why don't you guys pause the video and try these two by yourselves? Can you do that? Everybody try it. All righty, did you guys finish? I hope you did. So if we're going to divide 3 by 4, 3 top dog in the house, 3 divided by 4, 4 won't go into 3, so let's add a couple of zeros behind the decimal. 4 will go into 37 times. 7 times 4 is 28, with a remainder of 2. 4 will go into 25 times, and I have no remainder. So, and this is what my arrows are pointing. You should divide until you have no more remainders. So 3/4 is equal to 0.75. And then one more, 7/4. We're going to divide 7 by 4. 4 won't go into 7. Actually, I'm just kidding. It will one time. 1 times 4 is 4. Subtract and get 3. Bring down a 0. 4 goes into 27. What? 7 times 4 is 28. Subtract and get a remainder of 2. Bring down my 0. 4 goes into 25 times. So 7/4 is equal to 1.75. 1.75. All right. So now I believe I've given you guys some to practice on the next screen. Yes. All right, so now what you're going to do is you're going to convert these fractions into decimals and then each of them into a percent. So I want you guys to pause the video and I want you to try all of these by yourself and then I want you to check your answers with mine, okay? All right, so the first one, I'm going to divide 1 by 5, which will go 0.2 times. So 1/5 as a decimal is 0.2. And then to turn that decimal into percent, I move my decimal 2 places to the right, and I would get 20%. 7/10, I'm going to divide 7 by 10, and I get 0.7. 0.7. I'm going to turn 0.7 or 7/10 into a percent. Move that decimal 2 places to the right, and the answer is 70%. 6/5, 6 goes in the box. Top dog always goes in the house. So 5 goes into 6 one time. And then I'm going to bring down that 0. 5 will go into 10 twice. So 6/5 is equal to the decimal 1.2. When I move the decimal 2 places to the right, 1, 2, I get 120%. The next one, 6/25. 6/25. 25 going to 60 twice. 2 times 25 is 50. Bring down that 0, and it goes 5 times. No, it doesn't. It goes 4 times. Just kidding. All right, so my decimal is 0.24, which is equal to 24%. And finally, 7/9. If there's a 9 in the denominator, it means, let me do it over here. If there's a 9 in the denominator, it means it's a repeating, non-terminating decimal. Let me show you what I mean. All right, so 9 will go into 77 times. 7 times 9 is 63. 63. So I'm going to always have a remainder of 7. So it's going to always go in 7 times. So I know the direction said to divide until you have no remainders, but 7/9 is actually a non-terminating, it's a repeating decimal. So this would go on forever. So basically, if I'm going to write this as a decimal, if I move so I would just round it to, I could either put a line over the 7 to show the 7 repeats forever, or I could say 0.777 and then eventually round up because the next number is always going to be a 7. So these are fine. Both of these answers are fine. But then when I turn it into a percent, 1, 2, the best answer would be probably 77.8%. Okay. So that one's a little different than the other ones. All right. So let me show you your work for Tuesday. All right, sorry about that. So, I recommend that you print out this paper and work on it before you type in all of your answers into the quiz, but it's up to you. You don't have to. But I did want to show you a couple of answers here. So on the first one, let me get my pen going here. So 50%, we move that decimal to go from percent to decimal. We're going to move our decimal 2 places to the left, 1, 2. So I would have 0.5 or 0.50. It doesn't matter. And then fraction in simplest form. So how do I say this number? 5/10. But I can divide both of these numbers by 5 and I get 1/2. That's the best answer. Okay. All right. So what if we have, let's do K. So 4 divided by 5. So 5 won't go into 4, but it will go into 40 8 times. So 5 times 4 is 5 times 8 is 40 with no remainders. So 4/5 as a decimal is 0.8. And then how do I go from decimals to percents? I move my decimal 2 places to the right and I would get 80%. So that's how you're going to do this whole page, you guys. You're going to convert the fractions, decimals, and percents interchangeably. And there are several videos still embedded in the slide deck if you need more examples. All right, guys. I hope you can do all these problems without many questions. But if you need help, let me know, and I'll talk to you guys later.